If you take Khamrah and add coffee to it, you get this. So let's review Lattafa Khamrah Qahwa. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below and also make sure to follow me over on my Instagram page so you don't miss any content. But today we are reviewing one of the newer fragrances from Lattafa, and it is a flanker of probably the most popular fragrance from this house, the original Khamrah, which I'm a huge fan of the OG, and it does get compared to by Kilian's Angel Share, but for me personally, I don't see that many similarities between the two. But today's gonna be all about this flanker, Qahwa. And if you don't know, Qahwa actually means coffee in Arabic, so of course that kind of goes hand in hand with this fragrance. It's literally Khamrah with added coffee. I don't know about you guys, but that just sounds absolutely incredible. Also, there is a rumor currently going around about another flanker of Khamrah, and I believe it's gonna be like a chocolate flanker, and it's a very like dark kind of brown colored juice. So that would be awesome to see Lattafa keep coming out with more flankers of Khamrah in the future. So let's go with some information now. Khamrah Qahwa was launched in 2023. Like I said, it is one of the newer fragrances. For the retail price, on the only size this comes in, which is 100 ml, you can actually find this for around the $30 mark, guys, which is outstanding, especially for the kind of fragrance you're getting. And of course, I'll leave a tag on this video, the best price you can find Khamrah Qahwa right now. The concentration with this one, just like the OG, isn't eau de parfum, so you are getting a highly concentrated fragrance, which is appreciated. For the perfumer, like most of these kind of Middle Eastern fragrances, don't really list the perfumer, so it is unknown. I don't really think anybody knows the nose behind Khamrah or Khamrah Qahwa. With all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with this one now. So take a look at the box, and right away it's hard to believe that this is a $30 fragrance with this presentation, because the presentation is top notch for the price. Of course, you have Khamrah Qahwa Lattafa. Nothing on front. Right there on the bottom you do have your barcode and maybe a batch code right here to authenticate your product to see when it was produced, and these are of course made in the UAE. On the back just some information as well as some probably ingredients and such. On top the Lattafa logo, and it opens up like so, and you have this beautiful gold plaque where your bottle is housed. Just all in all, when it comes to the box presentation, nothing can compete with this for the price. Let's look at the bottle now. So take a look at the bottle. Of course, if you have Khamrah, it's very similar in style. This one, however, has more of a brownish colored juice compared to the original, but it does come in this kind of whiskey glass shaped bottle. On top, you have the Lattafa in gold with that plaque on the front. On the bottom, you have your sticker with some information. Nothing really on the back. And then when you open it up, nothing inside of the cap, nothing on the atomizer. And the cap is kind of like a plastic material, but it is pretty heavy and does click into place very securely. In the top, you have cinnamon, cardamom, and ginger. In the mid, you have praline, candied fruits, and white flowers. And in the base, you have vanilla, dates, tonka bean, benzoin, and musk. And this will be classified as a sweet gourmand. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Decent atomizer, especially for that price, you really cannot complain. So let's remind myself of Khamrah Qahwa now. So immediately you are going to be reminded of the original Khamrah, because it does open up with that signature spicy cinnamon note that is found in the OG. However, in here, it is a little bit smoother with a toned down cinnamon compared to the original as well, which has had an overdose blast of cinnamon right off the bat. This one though is much more well balanced in my opinion. They also replaced the nutmeg with cardamom, which I prefer because cardamom is one of the sexiest spices that can be used in fragrances, and it's no different with Qahwa. And they also add this note of ginger, which gives it this spicy, kind of fizzy zestiness in the opening along with the cinnamon and cardamom, so it's gonna be spicy through and through. And if you don't know, I guess Qahwa is of course Arabic for coffee, but I believe Qahwa is a specific type of coffee over in the Middle East, and I think it includes like dates, ginger. It's very aromatic, so I think they put the ginger in here for that specific reason, to kind of capture what Qahwa coffee actually smells like. It's a little bit different than your kind of traditional coffee that probably me and you are used to. Once we get into the mid, you are going to get that very similar chocolatey, gourmand, sweet praline note. It's very, very potent. One of the most dominant notes in Qahwa, in my opinion, as well, along with this candied fruits, which is listed. And it's kind of odd because the original had the note of dates, and I'm still detecting that kind of sweet, honeyed, like date note in Qahwa as well. So I believe they listed it as candied fruits, but I'm pretty certain they're still using dates, because at the end of the day, a date is actually a fruit, which a lot of people don't realize. So you are just gonna get the chocolatey praline and the honey sweet dates, and it's extremely gourmand in the mid. I know white flowers is listed in this one and the original, but for me personally, I'm not really getting any kind of floral nuances whatsoever, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, I love floral fragrances, but white florals is my least favorite, and I don't think florals really go hand in hand with gourmands. Finally, making our way into the base of Qahwa is where the name comes from, because you are also going to get that signature spicy, creamy, warm vanilla note. It's very similar to the original as well. It just goes hand in hand with the rest of the notes, which just makes this a stellar DNA and why it is so popular. But you are going to get that coffee note listed in the base, and like I said, it's not really going to be kind of your latte coffee or kind of a roasted coffee either. It's just a very kind of green, aromatic, slightly smoky coffee kind of vibe. I know a lot of people are going to go out, buy this fragrance hoping for a dominant kind of latte coffee, roasted coffee kind of nuance, but you're not really going to get that. Like I said earlier, the Qahwa is a specific type of coffee, and that's what they're going for, which is very green, aromatic, ginger-like, etc., but still does somewhat smell like your traditional coffee, just a little bit more aromatic. I do own quite a few coffee fragrances behind me, and I've never smelled a coffee quite done like this one, so it is pretty unique. No tonka bean, benzoin, and musk is also listed alongside the vanilla and coffee, but for me primarily, I'm just getting those two dominant notes that you're just gonna be left with for a very well done dry down with Qahwa. To be honest though, if you already own Khamrah, when it comes to the scent profile, these two are very, very similar, with just very slight differences between the two. So I would say they could be redundant unless you absolutely love the original Khamrah and it's one of your favorite fragrances of all time. Absolutely go ahead and get this. You really can't go wrong for around that $30 mark regardless. But if you're just somebody that sort of enjoys Khamrah, it has its place, you know, for certain occasions, etc., and you're happy with that, this one could be a pass just because of the similarities between the two. They're not different enough that I could justify them being absolute must-haves in the collection unless you're just a die-hard Khamrah fan. For me though, if I had to choose between the two, I'm going with Khamrah Qahwa hands down, because it's much smoother, has more complexity with it, and I just love that unique coffee note. So for the best seasons to rock Khamrah Qahwa, you guys can already probably guess this is gonna be a fall and winter absolute banger, guys. This just smells like fall in a bottle. Of course, with the spices, the chocolate notes, the kind of a coffee vanilla vibe going on. Perfect for the fall, and if you don't already have like a fall go-to fragrance, this is one I would highly recommend, and of course the winter as well. Most of the time you categorize fragrances as fall, winter, spring, or summer, and this is definitely for the colder weather. For occasions that best suits this, in my opinion, is going to be pretty versatile. You can dress this one down to like a more casual setting if you're going like maybe to a coffee date in the morning. You can also dress this one up easily during like the colder weather if you're going out on a date night to a nice dinner. And I keep referencing dates because this is an absolute perfect date sort of fragrance. It's very sexy, seductive, spicy, alluring, and it just kind of suits both situations, like a daytime coffee date and a nighttime and dinner date. Now, when it comes to gender, I consider this one to be very unisex, and I think all the Lattafa fragrances are basically targeted as unisex rather than male or female, because there's nothing ultra feminine or ultra masculine about Khamrah Qahwa, so it's right down the middle unisex. And I do know a lot of women that love kind of like this scent profile with like angel share, etc. So if you're a man watching this, this is going to be for you, and if you're a lady watching this one, definitely try this as well. I would be impressed if a lady showed up to our date wearing something that smells like this, to be honest. Definitely catch my attention because most of the women I usually go out with just wear your kind of generic perfumes. Unless they make it through the first date, then I hook them up with some knowledge when it comes to fragrances and make them smell like queens. But I digress, guys. When it comes to age groups, this is where it's also pretty versatile. It's youthful and mature, so anybody can really pull this one off because I can see the younger crowd, maybe like early 20s, late teens, etc., loving this one because of the coffee. Because of course, when you're in your late teens, early 20s, you're probably drinking a ton of coffee like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, etc. And when you're older, of course, too. But I just think this one can be pulled off younger and more mature, especially if you're a little bit older. You love spicy kind of coffee, creamy vanilla gourmands, and this is gonna be right up your alley. So just kind of a fragrance that's very versatile. If you're on a budget and you want something kind of sexy for like the fall and winter that would be perfect for dates, this is gonna be it right here in my hands. Wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you guys should expect if you do pick up a bottle of this one. For me personally, when it comes to the performance, I got about average. It's not gonna be like a beast mode nuclear fragrance. However, it's not gonna be like soft and intimate either. I got around maybe the 8-hour mark, which is solid for me when it comes to longevity. And mind you, that's on skin. If you spray this one on clothes, you will get a little bit more performance from it, of the longevity at least. So nothing to complain about, especially for the price. It absolutely performs as you kind of would hope for, but it's not gonna be a nuclear beast mode like some other Lattafas in their line. Just because most of the time when you have gourmand kind of sweet fragrances, they don't usually perform the absolute best. It does have this soft kind of feel when it comes to the DNA. And same goes with the projection as well. It got about moderate projection, which means people outside of your scent bubble for the first couple hours will absolutely detect you and probably ask you what you're wearing. They want to eat you, etc., because it gives off that vibe. And you will be noticed without a doubt. It's not going to be like really close in your scent bubble, but it's also not going to push across the entire room either, which is kind of good for date night situations because when you wear this one on a date, you're going to want your person, whoever you're out with, come a little bit closer to you or want to come a little bit closer to you to smell it, and it just brings them into this kind of warm scent bubble. So perfect performance from what I would expect from a fragrance like this. No complaints whatsoever. I know a lot of you guys, just like myself, do have high expectations when it comes to performance of fragrances, so this one should please you at the end of the day. That's gonna do it for my review of this flanker, Khamrah Qahwa. Let me know down below if you enjoy the original Khamrah, if you tried both of them, and which one you prefer, because I'm very curious if you guys agree with me on my opinion. But besides that, leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and of course, I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.